The Canadian Card Collector here, and welcome back to day 664 of your daily deck review. And the deck that we're taking a look at today is the Gilded edition of the Coco Palms playing cards from Organic Playing Cards. So, no further ado, take a look and see what we get. As you can see, it is still in that standard glossy finish tuck box here. It says OPC Coco Palms, coconut water, always organic. Then it's in that lighter blue colorway. Then you got the coconut there on the front. There's a little leaf. On one side says 100% fresh coconut. Other side says hydrating and nutritious. On the bottom, you got your information. So you got the QR code, the OPC logo, and their website. It says 2022 first edition, one of 3,000, designed by Organic Playing Cards, distributed by Riffle Shuffle Playing Co. Made in the USA. And on the back here, it has a little diagram on how to open a coconut there. And then the only difference between this one and the regular version for the tuck box itself is that holographic seal there with the coconut drink there. And these are numbered out of 200, so I got number 81. And then on the top it just says OPC Coco Palms. But now I'll press down that seal. There's a little perforated tab, so you can kind of open it without the handy card opener. But now we'll just use that anyway because it's a little bit easier. On the tuck flap here, it says refresh your palms. In your tuck flaps, that blue kind of color that just wraps around. Now we'll get the cards out of the box. Inside the tuck box, that matte white finish, nothing too crazy there. But now that we take a look at the cards, time to test. Now that we take a look at the tuck box, time to take a look at the cards. And as always, we'll start with the back side. So here we have a mirrored background there with the standard white border, slightly thinner white border. There's that light blue color with the coconuts there, and then you got a little thin brown border, and then you get to the standard white border. So we flip it over, same design in both directions. But before we get to the cards itself, let's take a look at the gilding. And for this edition of the gilding, since the tuck box is blue, there, you got yourself a blue gilding there, got kind of lighter blue gilding. There's a pretty nice colorway. But now for the cards here. Here we start with the first Joker. It says Joker Joker there. Then you got the coconut there with the blue and with the blue straw and little umbrella. Then you got a second Joker here. It's pretty much identical Joker, just doesn't have the little umbrella. Then we get to that custom Ace of Spades here. With a palm tree there in the shape of a spade. And then you got the little king there trying to get the coconuts out of the tree. It says Coco Palms. And the spades. And the rest of the cards are just standard, but they're in that brown, kind of darker brown colorway. And then you got the Jack, Queen, and King of Spades here. And if you know Organic Playing Cards, they always make slightly custom core cards with little hidden things in it. So they got that blue and brown colorway for the core cards, which looks pretty nice. And then the Jack here has a little coconut drink there. The Queen there has some like cocoa butter. And the King there has some coconut cream pie. And then you got the lighter blue colorway for the diamonds, which actually looks really nice. And you got the Jack, Queen, and King of diamonds here. Once again, that blue and brown colorway. And then you got, this one's a little funny. It's a movie reference for the Jack of diamonds here. It's supposed to be a reference to Castaway, because it has a little coconut with a face on it there. And then you've got the Queen of Diamonds here, which has a coconut cream little cupcake. And then we got the King there with a little coconut chocolate bar. And then we got the Jack, Queen, and King of Clubs here, once again, that custom colorway. And then the King there has the little like coconut grabber with some coconuts in it. The Queen here has a basket of coconuts. And the King, or the Jack, there has some coconut shrimp, or something like that. And we got the custom dark brown color for the clubs. And then last we'll get to the hearts. Jack, Queen, King of Hearts there in that custom colorway. And then the King there has the little sword that you would use to crack open the knife sword thing that you would use to crack open the coconuts. The Queen there has some coconut water. And then the Jack has a coconut donut or cookie. And then the hearts are just standard, but in that light blue colorway. And then the last two cards in the deck, you got a double backer of the background. And then you got an extra 7 of spades, But now I'd like to look at the cards, time to test the handling. And I'm going to say, straight out of the box, the cards are a little bit on the more stiffer side, slightly more stiffer. Just because the gilding makes the cards a little bit more stiffer for the springs. But still pretty nice springs. And for the fan ability, they fan pretty nicely. They got a nice even spread, so the cards aren't sticking together too much with the gilding. And if I put it to the side, you can see the gilding there in the fan. And if we ferro them, that decent giant fan, not the best. Let's try that again. There we go, slightly better. So overall, I guess they still handle like pretty much like a normal deck, but they're a little bit on the more like thicker side, just because the gilding makes it a little bit stiffer. It's not like too crazy stiff or anything. And one thing to notice, the edges can be a little bit sharp, just because it has that like more kind of like a rigid kind of edge to it, like the more plastic kind of edge to it. So that's one thing to notice. There. But they still handle fantastic, and they look fantastic there. Love that kind of darker brown and light blue colorway. The light blue is fantastic there. And then you got the little court cards, which we took a look at there, the custom court cards there, and then that back design there. So we're all another fantastic deck from Organic Playing Cards there. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed. And this has been day 664 of your daily deck review. And this has been the Gilded Edition of the Coco Palms playing cards from Organic Playing Cards. And I'm the Canadian Collector signing out. That's the video. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.